You are sitting in a glass-walled conference room on the 30th floor of 200 West Street, and outside the window, the Hudson is the color of old pewter. Across from you sits a managing director in a suit that costs more than your interview shoes, asking what your greatest weakness is. You give the answer you rehearsed 40 times, that you sometimes struggle to delegate because you care too much about execution. He writes something down. You cannot tell if it is good or bad. The pen in his hand costs more than the train ticket you bought to get here. You got into this room through a diversity recruiting pipeline, a 2-week program Goldman runs for students from non-target schools. You were one of 11 selected from 4,000 applicants. You know this. You also know that knowing it is a trap. The moment you let it make you feel like a guest instead of a candidate, you have already lost. So you sit straight. You hold eye contact. You perform certainty so well that after a while, you stop being able to tell where the performance ends. The MD looks up from his notes and says your recommender called you the hardest worker he had seen in 20 years. He says that is either a compliment or a warning, and they will find out which. Then he closes the folder. The interview is over. You shake his hand and walk back to the elevator. The carpet in the hallway is the color of bone. Everything in the building is neutral. Gray, white, silver. Power that has nothing left to prove. The offer comes 3 weeks later. So does a call from your mother. The dry cleaning shop your parents built over 22 years is losing its lease. The landlord sold the building to a real estate developer. The business is being erased by a signature on a term sheet, the exact kind of transaction you are about to spend your career facilitating. You sit with that fact for about 45 seconds. Then you accept the offer. The base salary is $110,000 plus a signing bonus, more than your parents made combined in their best year. You tell yourself you will be different once you have power. It is the oldest lie ambition knows how to tell. The hours are not a rumor. You are at your desk by 7 and rarely leave before 2 in the morning. You eat dinner from a $28 salad delivered by someone making $15 an hour. You build pitch books, 80 slide decks that take 40 hours to produce and get glanced at for 4 minutes in a boardroom. You learn to model a leveraged buyout in your sleep. Literally. You dream in Excel. One night, you make a formatting error on a deck going to a client. Your VP marks it up in red ink and slides it back across your desk without a word. You redo all 60 pages at 11 p.m. and have it on his chair before he arrives the next morning. He never mentions it. That is how you know you passed. The analyst class starts with 42 people. By month 14, 6 have quit. One had a panic attack in the bathroom before a client call and never came back. You don't quit, partly because of your parents, mostly because you are genuinely, frighteningly good at this, and that knowledge is the most addictive thing you have ever touched. You calculate one sleepless Tuesday at 1 a.m. that you are being paid approximately $12 an hour. Then you close the spreadsheet and go back to the model. The associate promotion arrives, and with it, a celebratory dinner in a private room at a midtown steakhouse with no prices on the menu. Your group head, silver-haired, interchangeable name, the kind of man who has been in every room you have ever wanted to be in, tells you that you have the intangibles. You know what that means from the other side. It means you have learned to perform the culture, not just the work. That night, a deal crosses your desk. A leveraged buyout of a regional grocery chain. The model works. The deal closes. 6 months later, the chain lays off 2,300 workers to hit the debt service targets. You knew that outcome was probable when you built the model. You filed it under operational efficiencies. The term has a clean sound to it. That is the point of the term. Your MD tells you at a quarterly review that the difference between a good banker and a great one is the ability to separate the transaction from its consequences. You write it down. You are not sure whether you agree or whether you just want the promotion badly enough that the distinction no longer matters. You make VP. The title change is not just administrative, it is a filter. Above this line, the firm stops managing you and starts using you. You are now the person who decides what the client sees and what stays in the footnotes. On your first major VP level mandate, an M&A advisory for a mid-size pharmaceutical company, you discover the seller has been quietly understating litigation exposure. Not fraudulently, technically, just selectively. Your MD tells you the disclosure language is within standard. You let it pass. The deal closes. The buyer's stock drops 18% 6 months later when the litigation surfaces. Nobody investigates. Nobody calls. The fee was $14 million. The firm books it as a successful close. You realize that at this level, success has been quietly replaced with something you do not fully recognize. You rationalize on the train home. You tell yourself you will do better on the next one. That is how it works. Not a single dramatic betrayal, but 100 small footnotes left unread. Partner. The word lands like a physical object. You are one of 400 partners worldwide. Your total compensation crosses $3 million annually. Base, bonus, and restricted stock units that vest over 4 years. Golden handcuffs dressed up as a reward. Your parents fly in from home. Your mother cries in the lobby of a restaurant you chose because it would not embarrass you in front of your colleagues. Your father runs his hand along the lapel of your suit, the good one, the one you bought with your first bonus, and says nothing. That silence means everything and costs nothing. It is the last uncomplicated moment you will have for a long time. What you do not tell them, the partnership agreement you signed on page 47, binds you to the firm's arbitration clauses and clawback provisions. Leaving before the restricted stock vests costs you $6 million in deferred compensation. The view from your new office is spectacular. Full harbor, glass on 3 sides. Beautiful. Also a fishbowl. 14 years in, the head of your division steps back. There are 3 internal candidates. You are one of them. You have spent 3 years positioning, building client relationships, accumulating mandates, mentoring junior analysts who will advocate for you in rooms you cannot enter. Your numbers are better than the other 2 candidates combined. The committee knows it. They choose the one who went to Exeter and Princeton anyway. The reason given, in the quietest possible language, is cultural fit for senior client relationships. You understand exactly what that means. You have always understood it. You just believed that performance was a universal passport. You were wrong. The system was never a meritocracy. It was a meritocracy-shaped container, built to sort the people who already belonged from the people who were auditioning. You had been auditioning for 14 years without knowing the role was already cast. The MD who championed you, who told you a decade ago that you had the intangibles, pulls you aside and says the timing just was not right. He says your moment will come. You look at him and understand, with a clarity that arrives too late to be useful, that he has been managing your ambition for years, keeping you hungry enough to produce, never quite satisfied enough to leave. 6 months later, a sovereign wealth fund tied to a government with a documented human rights record approaches Goldman for a $4 billion capital raise. The relationship partner brings the mandate directly to you. The message underneath the message is clear. Your client's skills make you the right person to lead this. And if it goes sideways, the liability stops with you, not with them. If you refuse, you are the difficult partner who already lost a succession vote and is now declining a $40 million fee. The firm does not need a formal reason to manage you out. You just handed them one. You take it. You hear yourself explain the geopolitical complexity to your team with the same clean language your MD used on you years ago. You sound exactly like him. You have been becoming him for so long that the transformation is invisible from the inside. The story breaks in the Financial Times on a Tuesday morning. Internal emails, model outputs, a memo you wrote recommending the deal proceed despite what you carefully described as elevated reputational exposure. The sourcing is precise. Anyone inside Goldman reads between the lines immediately. The firm's crisis team mobilizes within the hour, not to protect the institution, but to determine which individual narrative can absorb the damage cleanest. You find out the source of the leak on a Wednesday. It came from the office of the partner who beat you in the succession vote. The same person who positioned the mandate on your desk used your signature on that memo as the instrument to remove you before you could mount a second run at the top. The play is elegant in the way that only institutional cruelty can be. No fingerprints, no confrontation, just a quiet word to the right journalist, and the wrinkles press themselves out. The meeting with legal and HR lasts 20 minutes. No raised voices. The general counsel has done this many times before. They offer a transition, a severance package, an NDA, a partial clawback waiver on the restricted stock. The language is careful and collegial. You sign. The severance is $2.1 million. 16 years, converted to a number and a non-disclosure agreement. The general counsel thanks you for your service to the firm. He means it in the same way the building's security system means it when the turnstile clicks open for the last time. You take the elevator down alone. You carry nothing. Your assistant packed the personal items into a box that is being sent to your home address. The lobby is marble and ambient light, the same as every other morning you have walked through it. The security guard nods as you pass. He has no idea. That is the architecture of the place. Everything designed to look continuous, even as it discards you. 2 months later, you are having coffee in a neighborhood far from Midtown when a journalist calls. Not the one who broke the story. A different one. She's writing a profile of the partner who replaced you. He is being positioned as a reformer, someone committed to cleaning up the firm's reputational practices. She asks if you would like to comment. You say no. You hang up. You sit with your coffee and think about the dry cleaning shop that got erased so a developer could build luxury condos. A project you now know, financed through a fund Goldman advised the year you made associate. You think about 2,300 grocery workers, about a pharmaceutical buyer's stock, about page 47. You think about your father's hand on your lapel, and about the suit he spent his life pressing, and about the fact that in the end, the only difference between his position and yours is that yours came with a better view of the water before they took the keys back. You did not climb to the top of the machine. You climbed inside it. There is a difference, and it took 16 years to learn it. Goldman Sachs generated over $47 billion in revenue in 2024. The analyst acceptance rate is still below 2%. Somewhere right now, someone is pressing a suit they will never be able to afford, dreaming about the person who wears it. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.